Well, yeah, I did my radio show Tuesday. At that moment, I thought we were still playing Oregon, so it really wasn't until late morning that we found out about the postponement there. So, kind of shifted gears a little bit with our week, and we did a lot of running on Monday after a day off on Sunday, and went a little bit lighter on Tuesday, and with the knowledge that we wouldn't be playing until Saturday, and thought we had a very nice day yesterday. I really liked what I saw from Remy and Josh out there. We did a lot of scrimmaging, and those two really worked well together. So that was good to see. And then I thought the ball movement was very good. So we're trying to focus a little bit on the offensive end as we've kind of stemmed the tide with some of our issues, transition defense and rebounding. We're way better versus UCLA. Obviously, not as much versus USC, but I think I chalk some of that up again to not having the full complement of guys and maybe being a little fatigued after what the UCLA game took out of us. So I want to try and work on the offensive end a little bit. I think in the UCLA game, our numbers were not good from three. We had the stretch in the first half where we missed 12 straight shots. The USC game, we didn't shoot free throws well. And overall, our shooting numbers were not great either. So trying to really hope that we could get some continuity, get some chemistry on offense now that we're getting guys back, and hoping to improve in some of those areas. Had a really good vision for this being an outstanding offensive team coming in. It hasn't really come together the way we hoped, and there's been a lot of reasons why, but just pleased with that. The one roster issue for this week will be Tayshaun Cherry. Tay is going to be out on Saturday. He's not going to travel with the team. He's going to take a little bit of time due to personal reasons. It's been a really tough year on everybody, as we know, and so Tay is going to take a small step back right now.
Open it up. Questions go. Michelle, Trevor, and Jordan to start it off.
Coach, I'm assuming that Jalen Graham also will be unavailable this week. And also kind of piggybacking off of that, how hard has it been to get in any sort of rhythm with stoppages, personnel guys missing pretty much every game?
Yeah, I mean, we're creatures of habit, routine. You try and develop chemistry and rhythm on offense, and because you have guys playing together on a continual basis, and having the disruptions, make it a little more challenging to build that. It's not exclusive to Arizona State. It's everywhere. So all the coaches have to deal with it, and the team we're playing on Saturday has been through a similar thing that we went through, having missed a week. And, they're obviously going to get their game tonight versus Arizona. But so, yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest thing. And that's why this practice time this week is very valuable for us as we get Remy back and reintroduce him to what we're doing.
Trevor, Jordan, Zach.
Bobby, we saw obviously when Marcus returned just his importance on both ends and how much you're going to need out of him to be successful. How has he handled the responsibilities you're asking out of him, and especially working back from his injury and the circumstances of this year?
He's just got a real maturity about him, how he conducts himself, how he practices, how coachable he is. And he's the type of player that as a coach, you're trying to find more ways to try and get him shots and get him involved in the offense. And that's a constant process as teams adjust. Like we had him on a couple of flares versus UCLA, and then for the USC game, because there's nobody in the gym, you hear the USC bench yelling flare when Marcus is involved in some screening actions, because they don't want to give him clean looks, because he's proven that he's a guy that could really make shots. But more than that, I mean, he's a guy that takes charges, 11 defensive rebounds against a really, really talented and big front court. So I think it shows that he could help you, put you in a position to win in a variety of ways.
Hey, Coach. I know a lot of it probably came with just being shorthanded, but do you feel like your team has done a much better job at just answering the call to showing a little bit more heart out there on the court?
I mean, that's what was impressive to me about the two games. And again, you don't want to hang your hat on moral victories. You want to win games, but I just liked our competitive spirit. I thought we battled. I thought there was a will to win. There was a lot of gut check moments throughout both games, and I think we were up for the challenge. I think the UCLA game to figure out a way down the stretch to force overtime, the play through a first half where you miss 12 straight shots and still you're right in the game. The USC game being down 18 and making a big run and taking the lead in the second half. So I think if we could bottle that up and then add a little more efficiency on offense and get a little better at that end of the floor, then we got a chance to possibly go on a run. Jalen Graham, by the way, I know, Michelle, you asked about him. I had a good conversation in my office yesterday. It's the first time I've seen him in a bit because of mono and him wanting to just avoid being around and resting up. And, for a guy that's not real big, I mean, he's not the biggest, strongest guy. He didn't lose a lot of muscle mass, and, he had a good way about him in our conversation. So he's anxious to get back, and he shot some free throws and did some things on his own yesterday. So, I think that it's not too far in the future that you're gonna see him return.
Coach, obviously a very difficult time for players to be playing surrounding the not only the world pandemic climate, but not only are also our country's social justice climate. I wanted to know if the motion or the act of kneeling before games, has that been something that you think has brought the team together?
I think it's a positive thing for our league. It's all our coaches and then the Pac-12 agreed that this was a good thing to do, a moment of solidarity, of unity for all of us. And you're right, the social injustice and the things that are happening in our country have been really upsetting and disturbing. I think that we need more ways that we could come together and be unified as a country.
Mike Caratenuto, Chris Cartman, then Chris Farndorf.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, obviously, like you said, you don't want to obviously hang your hat on not winning games, but at the same time, I mean, how do you feel going forward that this is shown the depth that you guys will be able to have? And I mean, to put guys in games, obviously, that are going to be able to perform with having to go through this obviously tough stretch and not having players available.
Yeah, I mean, I think just being shorthanded, the guys stepped up. We were very competitive against two really good teams. Two of the teams I think will be at the top of the league as this thing starts to play out. And so it was encouraging to know that. And then I also know that I don't think we played our best. I think we're learning how to play as hard as we need to play and rebound the ball at the level we need to rebound it. Now we need to be able to still be efficient on offense and make shots. And I think the difference in both of those games was, in the UCLA game, maybe making 2 or 3 more threes. Our shooting numbers were not good from 3. In the USC game, very similar. And then we also added, poor free throw shooting. So there's things that I think are within our control that I think guys are capable of doing. And I think that we have a chance to do that at a better clip, as we keep going here.
Bobby, I was going to ask kind of about what you were just talking about there. How has this group looked on offense compared to what you thought it was going to be before the season started? And how much has just the layoff and not having everybody hampered some of those things?
Yeah, I don't want to take away, what UCLA and USC were able to do defensively. I mean, they're two very good defensive teams in our conference. And, so our shooting numbers were not great. Our scoring totals weren't. I do believe in my heart that we're closer to being what we showed against Rhode Island than what we are now currently. And I think, as we get Remy back, as Marcus feels more comfortable, as Remy and Josh get more time to work together, I'm hoping that we'll be able to put something together that will resemble more of what I thought we would be on offense.
Chris Farndorf, Hode, and then Paul Richardson.
Hey, Coach, I know you're aware of your team's rebounding struggles, and like you mentioned, you know, they showed a lot more effort in that game. It looked like versus UCLA. I was wondering, how much tougher is it for your team, you know, to win while losing that battle on the glass, and how are you getting your team to buy into rebounding as a team?
Well, I think if you look at all our games and we shared the numbers with our players, that if we are in single digits on the backboard, then we've either won or been highly competitive in those games. If there is a big disadvantage, like you saw in the UTEP game or the USC game, and then we were still right there with USC despite, you know, getting out rebounded by 20. The Villanova game, we were minus 18. So all these numbers don't put you in a great position to have success, and I think that's something that, you know, our staff and practices and leading into games and game preparation is something that we're really emphasizing.
Bobby, I know that the absence of Remy Martin really gave you, in a way, a preview for next year with Holland Woods being the starting point guard. Obviously, you saw a lot of positives from him in the preseason, but specific to these two games, when there's more responsibilities put on him, how would you evaluate Woods' performance?
Yeah, I thought Holland versus UCLA did a good job on Tiger Campbell. I think defensively, through a wide majority of that game, did an excellent job staying in front of him, keeping him out of the paint. So he was made an impact more defensively. But in both games, I think he ran the team well and he managed the game well. And you know, he was more offensive minded late first half, and the USC game really brought us back. But overall, both games just solid. You know, assist to turnover ratio. I think he was 4-1 in the USC game, and you know, that's what you need from your point guard.
Coach, I obviously don't want to feel sorry for anybody. You know, there's a pandemic, but everyone's kind of going through the same thing. How do you balance that with your team, letting them know, hey, look, there's a lot going on, but not just compete, but we got to find a way to win some of these games? How do you balance that when you're talking to them?
Well, I think it's just the message is hope and optimism as much as possible. And I think you know, our whole country and this team has been beaten up in a lot of ways, just, you know, stoppages, postponements, players in and out, you know, crazy things happening like a Cal where we get off the plane and we think everything's fine. The next day I'm spending half the day wondering who's going to be available and through contact tracing on the day of a game. So there's like all kinds of stuff. And so everyone's been beaten up this year. And you know, I still believe that there's a chance that we could, you know, rally and get this thing going again. And I think we have some nice pieces that could do that, and guys that have proven they could do it. And now it's a matter of knowing, hey, we got like 7-8 weeks left here. And do we want to go all in and see what we could really make out of this season?
Let's go Doug Haller, Michelle, and then Adam Knoll.
Bobby, the postponed games are piling up now. How confident are you that all of these will be made up?
Well, you know, we're going to do the best thing we could do, and the best way possible to try. I mean, our sports administrator, Ken Lanphier, is working very hard behind the scenes to juggle our schedule, as is, you know, all the coaches being open to doing things that you normally wouldn't do. Like we're still trying to play on Monday. You know, we're trying to play somebody on Monday right now. And there's a few possibilities, but we're not sure if anything is going to materialize. We're trying with a couple of schools that we've already had postponements with to see if there's a way that we could do it. And then we'll fly back and, you know, we'll have a short prep for Arizona. But if that means that we could get, you know, another game in, then we're going to do the best we can to do it.
And then also it's the same for every school, but the crowd, having no crowd in the past, the crowd has fueled Remy Martin. And sometimes it seems like you're even fueled on the sideline by the fans. How big of a issue or hurdle has it just been to create your own energy in the building?
Yeah, it's been a weird feeling, certainly, and not something I'm hopeful will be a part of our future again, because the guys live and feed off the adrenaline of the game. And believe me, we still are out there fiercely competing and totally locked in. But I do believe the crowd does add another dimension to what you're doing. And, I've seen Remy in close scrimmages, though, like have that same intensity leading into a season. So it's hard for me to say like how much of an impact it's having on a guy like him. I think it's better if I ask him that question.
Michelle, Adam Knoll, and then Chris Farndorf.
I actually don't have a question anymore because Doug Haller beat me to the punch. That was exactly what I was going to ask.
Adam and Chris.
Hey, Coach, I just wanted to ask with absences in the front court. I know there's been spurts where you've had to play Kamani Lawrence at the center. I just want to know how that has looked in your eyes and if that experiment kind of played out the way you guys expect. I know you've been shorthanded, but
yeah,
just kind of evaluating his performance there.
Well, I mean, I think for Kamani, I thought he held his own, all things considered, playing against guys like Cody Riley and Jalen Hill and the Mobleys and how big they are, how talented those front courts were. So, he got a shot block a couple times, just their size. It's hard to really, unless you're out there competing against it, it's you don't really see it too often just with their ability to block shots. But I wish, that layup didn't get taken off the board for him. I thought that was a kind of a key play in the USC game late. I think it was about 5:50 left in the game, and that would have put us up 2. He was streaking down the center of the court. And so that was an unfortunate play. I would love to see more, confidence building plays for him to really get him going. But I do like some of the things that we're working on with him as being a mismatch guy against a bigger player. And just, again, embracing that role. And he knew we were shorthanded. And I asked him, I need you to play some 5. And I know it's not your natural position. I know that's not why you came to Arizona State 4 years ago, but he was up for the challenge and really gave everything he had for us.
Let's go Chris, Josh, Carson, and that'll be it. That's good with everybody.
Hey, Coach. I know Marcus has brought a real immediate impact back onto the board since coming back from his injury. And in the earlier Zoom today, he told us he's trying to work on being more of a leader and more vocal on the rebounding side of things and in the locker room. Has anyone else on the team distinguished themselves as a leader on the rebounding side to you, and how?
Well, I mean, that's a leader on the rebound side. I mean, I know that's been an area. I think the coaches are trying to lead that charge, really, to be honest with you. Just constant reinforcement, especially for when you're talking about guards that are dynamic, that are playmakers, that aren't necessarily, it's not in their nature, to want to instinctively rebound. Got guys like Verge and Remy and guys that want to play in the open court and get outlet passes and go. And I think that Verge did a nice job versus UCLA. He got 6 defensive rebounds. Josh Christopher got 9. So those, if we could, and it may not be that many for each game, but if we could get somewhere close with some of the smaller guys chipping in more, I think we could close the gap, in those numbers.
Josh, Carson, and then Ethan. I missed over Ethan, so those will be the last 3.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the missed 3-pointers earlier. It's always tough mentally when you're taking some good open shots and they're just not going in, especially for some of those younger players. Between some struggles like that and all of the other adversity that you've discussed today, how are you keeping an eye on the team's mentality? How are you making sure that everyone has their head in the right place, everyone has their head up still?
Yeah, I mean, look, I keep telling the guys this week, like, we're right there. We're pretty close. We fixed some things that from a competitive nature, spirit, dealing with adversity. And in both the UTEP and the San Diego State game, we didn't have the response. We had the response, all right? So that's a positive sign. Now we have to, add some efficiency on offense and making some shots. And we're doing more shooting drills. We did a couple more shooting drills yesterday and just trying to encourage guys. We know you can make shots. Like, I know that that Remy is not a 29% three-point shooter. I know that Josh Christopher is not a 22% three-point shooter. And again, we're about a third of the way through the season right now. So there's time to make improvements in those areas. And I think Marcus is a way better. Now, he's had a couple of desperation type threes that have hurt his numbers. But I think what he's shown in practice, I mean, he's more capable of even hitting more of those open ones. So I have confidence we'll be able to turn it around.
Carson and then Ethan.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, Holland's in a very different role here at ASU than he was in his time at Portland State. But how important has his offensive versatility been to this team, his ability to play on and off the ball? And how has he performed and adjusted to that role relative to your expectations when he was coming in?
Yeah, we talk a lot about it, and again, he was the guy at Portland State and had the ball in his hands the whole time, and so it's going to be a transition for him, an adjustment, and he's been open-minded to it. He's really I think done a nice job of realizing, hey, Remy is Pac-12 Player of the Year candidate and All-American coming in here, and 19 a game last year, so he understands like, hey, I gotta find my niche in the offense. And, I think it was a good plus for, like we touched on earlier in the call, just to see, when there are multiple guys out, giving a glimpse of what it'll look like next year with Holland, being a guy that would have the ball a lot. But he's doing a nice job of, again, being a facilitator, sharing the ball, making shots as he did that versus USC, and then playing good defense. His defense, I thought, was excellent this weekend.
Ethan, you're it.
Coach, Bagley talked about how he was proud of how the team fought shorthanded. You've talked a little bit about how you think it's possibly trending in the right direction. You guys have a chance to go on a run. What's the feeling around the team right now? What are people positive? Are players positive that they feel the same way that they can go on a run?
Like I said, when I first initiated the call, and my comments were pretty positive about our practice yesterday. I thought there was just a good vibe in the gym, a good spirit in the gym. There was a possession where we changed sides of the floor like 3 times, and the ball was popping, and we hit a 3, and that whole team was super excited about not whoever made the shot, but how we made the shot. And so there were good examples like that give me hope that I think, the guys are enthusiastic, and, we haven't traveled in a while. So I think hitting the road and getting a change of scenery will be a positive for us as well. So it's a lot of things that we're excited about at the moment.